Oh boy, okay, let's see here. Motovlog or motorcycle related talking head videos are probably not my favorite to make, but sometimes they're necessary, and I think that's probably the case here. So for the most part, I'm going to make an overgeneralization here, so bear with me, but there are two types of motovlog content creators. And at the end of this video, I'd like for you to decide which category you fit into. Now, this might be a difficult conversation for us to have, but at this point, I believe it's necessary if we're going to talk about why some motovloggers are not successful or as successful as you want to be on YouTube. The simple fact is most motovlog creators on YouTube are struggling. And I'm not talking about the big guys, like the top tier guys. Those guys are doing their thing, crushing it, bringing in revenue, bringing in subscribers. I'm talking about the average motovlog channel that might be monetized. If you're lucky enough to be monetized. And if you are monetized, you're probably making enough money, I don't know, for the most part of us to maybe just put gas in your motorcycle for the most part. I would even go as far to say that I bet 99.9% of motovloggers, for the time and effort that you put into your videos, you're probably not even making minimum wage. So let's start this conversation about why motovlog channels are not growing. And if your channel is growing and you get a spike in viewership and a spike in views, what is it that we have to do as motovloggers to maintain that channel growth? Let's talk about it. So let's separate this problem into a couple of different talking points so we can tackle them one by one. First of all, it'd have to be that, the number of motovloggers out there is massive. And for the most part, I'm including myself in this, for the most part, we are all doing the same thing. What do I mean by that? Forward-facing camera, rider-facing camera. Forward-facing camera, riding-facing camera. You either are a great commentator and recorder of your motorcycle adventures and rides, or you have unmatched charisma and personality. There are many motovloggers out there that fit those categories and their channels are growing well. But what about the rest of us? You can have the coolest, hottest motorcycle there is out there, and you can have the most dynamic, wonderful personality that you can possibly think of. But here's the thing about social media. People just move on. They move on fast, and they forget even faster. We've all heard it before. What I'm about to say is nothing new. But if you create a YouTube channel, what you want to do is you want to create a YouTube channel that has a very specific focus to it for a very specific audience. That way, when your audience comes back to your YouTube channel, they know exactly what they're getting time and time again. Now, whenever I find a new motovlogger, maybe somebody who's just getting started and that type of thing, and I go to their channels to check them out, really, even the new people are doing the same thing as the seasoned people, or maybe the seasoned riders are doing the same thing as the new riders. And what do I mean by that? Motovlogs, standard typical motovlogs, shorts, rides, product reviews. Again, we're all doing the same thing, and it's tough to find something specific to make you stand out above the rest of the crowd. So when you look at motorcycle content creators who have stood the test of time, I'm talking about some of the big ones out there, 5+ years, let's say, something like that. I'm going to use somebody like Blockhead or Shade Tree as an example. When you look at those particular channels, whether they release a new video every 2 to 3 days or 2 to 3 weeks, they have a loyal following that always watches every single one of their videos. Why is that? I believe it's because certain content creators have developed skills that are very, very useful. Motovlogging at its core has two primary skills, and that would be riding and personality. And many of us, including myself, do our best to try to learn a new skill outside of those two categories. Now, here's the thing. Learning additional skills outside of those two categories could potentially make you an excellent content creator. But here's the thing. A lot of people, a lot of motovloggers don't want to be content creators. They want to get paid for riding their motorcycle. And I don't blame you for that. It looks and sounds fantastic. The problem with that is the bar is set so very high because you have people who want to be full-time content creators doing their best to provide excellent content for their audience. So let me leave you with this question. Do you want to be a content creator or do you want to get paid to ride your motorcycle? Because those are two very, very different categories. If you want to be in that first group of people who want to be full-time content creators and you already have a YouTube channel set up, well, the next step, honestly, it's pretty simple, but it's very difficult. And that is developing and learning that skill that we previously talked about that's going to make you stand out above the rest. It can be very difficult and very time-consuming, but I'm telling you, it can be extremely rewarding. When I first started motovlogging, there were a lot of different skills that I had to learn. What editing program am I going to use? How I'm going to make thumbnails? What about GoPro technology? How do I record audio? All of those things that we all know too well and we still struggle with from time to time. But a couple of years in now, you think, okay, it's not only time to freshen up my skills, but to learn additional skills, which is what I want to do. And there were so many to choose from when it comes to motovlogging. I mean, let's think about it. There's a channel out there for mechanics. There's a channel out there for travelers. There's a channel out there for motorcycle related news. Anything that you can possibly think of, there is a skill that you can learn and develop to help promote your channel. Now, if you are unsure what skill you would like to develop or what do you want to focus on, let me just ask you a question. What type of motorcycle content on YouTube are you watching the most? What type of content do you consume the most? That might be a good indicator of what you're interested in and what you want to press forward to learn. Even after all the time and energy and effort that we put into our YouTube channels, even if your channel never blows up, even if my channel never blows up, even if we don't get millions of views and tens of thousands of subscribers, one of the things you can take comfort in is maybe you had fun doing this and you did your best. And here's the thing, nobody can take that away from you. Well, I'll tell you what, guys, I appreciate your time very, very much. If you would, hit that thumbs up, show your support for the channel, leave me a comment, tell me what you think about this talking head video. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, maybe you should consider subscribing. I know I would appreciate that very, very much. I hope you guys have an excellent day. We'll talk to you again soon.